Hey everybody, today's daily pattern is called Danza, D-A-N-Z-A, and I was going to do it on a white tile, but I really feel like it will be better on a black tile. I think this is going to be one of those ones that just feels like black tile. So I'm going to have to adjust my camera settings just a little bit. I wanted you to be able to see the steps. Step number one, it appears, is two circles, and then is sort of a swoopy shape, sort of like you start cadent, and then another one that kind of overlaps it, and then you aura that one more time, and then you aura that one more time. So you do that 4 times. So it's a kind of a cadent move with 4 S-like shapes. And then you start the petals. And you start the petal and you go around like that. And then you go around the other way. And put these little lines in if you so choose. And you can overlap them in any different way that you want. So fun. So much fun. That looks like something I totally will enjoy doing. And it looks like when they did this sample, there's one, and here's one, and here's one. And so it looks like they did this middle, this first step, well, first 4 steps or 5 steps before they start the petals. They did all those first so that the petals can then go either in front or behind. And I think that's how I want to do this as well. So I'm going to give this a go and see what happens. But I do believe I want to zoom out just a tiny bit because this is big paper. So you're going to see, yeah, like that. I think I'm good. And I'm going to use this silver Uniball Signo pen, so you guys can see what it is. I'm going to use that one. So I'm going to start with a circle here and a circle here. One, and then comes around and overlaps like that. 2, 3, and 4. And the important part here is that you do this intersection right there. They're all in the same place. And I'm going to then do another one over here, maybe a little bigger and longer perhaps. Get some different scale happening. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You see, this doesn't have to be in the middle where it crosses over. It just has to all cross over in the same spot. Excuse me. I think I want this one connected to this one here. I'm going to do this. Something like that. And then I want one going way over here. Be careful with the silver pen because it will smear. It's the only problem with doing work on the black tiles is that the white or silver gel pens, whatever pen you get to write on black, is going to be a liquidier ink, and it is going to smear. That's the nature of the beast. So you just have to be more careful. One, two, three. That one looks good with just three, I think. And then I want one over here, way over here. That might be too close to the edge, but I don't care. We'll just go off the edge if we have to, right? It's my drawing, I can do whatever I want. I'm going to add that fourth one. I didn't add that fourth one, but I think I am going to. Ooh, I didn't turn my tile, and that was very difficult for my hand, and my pen kind of skipped. Make sure you turn your tile and hold your pen however you need to hold your pen. All right. Okay. I'm gonna start like that. I always do things more complicated than they need to be. Have you noticed that? I've noticed that. I really do. I do things more complicated than they need to be. But that's okay. Whatever. Okay. Next step. Right by, can you see this? Right by where the swirl is, that last swirl, on this side of it, not up on top, but on this side of it is where you start these petals. So let's give that a try. So it's going to be on this side, and you start the petal by going like that. So then on this one, you'll start the petal See, I did that the hard way to figure it out. I should have just made one that I wasn't attached to anything so I could learn how to do it to start with. That would have been just too simple, wouldn't it, Dawn? Yes, indeed. That would have been too simple. Okay, we're just going to start that way, and we're going to work our way around. You just work your way around on the outside of the and you're just going to work your way around. So it's going to attach to here and work your way around this way. Actually, I think I like drawing them this way. Yeah, okay. Make sure everything's dry before I put my hand on it. You can make longer petals, right? You can make them bigger, you can make them smaller. And just keep going around until I run out of room. It's kind of what it looks like. Oop, be careful. I'm going to smear, see? See? I got it on my fingers because I wasn't paying attention. I am so used to drawing with the black ink that doesn't smudge. Gotta be careful. Gotta think more and be more cognizant of where I'm putting my hand. I may have to make sure my hand isn't even touching the page, which is really hard for me. I'm so used to drawing the other way. And as you get down here to this middle part, make it really small. That seems to be the right, I think I'm going in the right direction here. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. Okay, so this one comes up and around and it gets bigger. It'll come up and around and get bigger, and then it'll get smaller as it goes back down into where it crosses over. They just come up and around, whatever size you decide they're going to be. Make sure I have got a dry spot for my hand, and then it's going to come and get smaller because I'm getting down to that little crossover right down there. See how that goes bigger and then smaller? I believe that's how it's supposed to go. It's that time of day where, can you see this? Through my window, my little rainbow thing is creating a rainbow shadow. Sorry, squirrel. I got distracted. I have to decide, because this is overlapping this one and this is going to be overlapping this one, I just kind of have to make a decision as to, is this one coming around over that one, or how is that living in my world here? I think this one's going to come up and around here. I'm going to do that one first, and then this one's going to kind of overlap underneath it. So I'm going to decide that this one has to live in my world this way. It's going to come way up. And then it's going to get smaller. Right there, so that it's on top, like that. And then this one can come up and around. Make sure it's dry before I put my hand down. Okay, this is coming around and behind and here. And then pretend it's coming behind it there. And then it's coming behind it there. Kind of have to figure out where it's living. There we go. There we go. That's very interesting. I really like this. I knew I'd like this one. As soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, this one is so me. I'm going to like it. Okay, this one comes this way. This way, this way, this way. Just figuring out which one's on top, which one's on bottom. It's going to kind of be whatever it is. It's how the nature of the beast. It's going to be a little bit organic and kind of have a life of its own. Okay, so where do I want to go next? I want this one. This one's a little weird because it's going to go off the page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it really big and start it over here so that it's taking up some visual space. And it's really got quite the curve to it. Before it disappears. Just remember, if you're drawing off the edge of your page, it's still, you have to remember that it's still continuing. This pattern is still doing its thing out here. So you have to make sure that it's still living in your world properly, so that your eye doesn't think something's weird going on. Your eye just says, oh, that's just because it's off the edge of the page. It's no big deal. It still exists. And it exists in the right scale. You see what I mean? How this is, you can imagine that this is continuing out here. I don't have a scrap piece of paper I can draw on. Show that. I do. Okay, so in my world, you can tell that this is still continued there. And this, you can imagine this shape existing on the outside of the actual page. See? You can imagine that still. That's what you need to remember to do if you are going to draw off the edge of your page. Make sure you continue your, because it would be really easy to just forget it and stop right there. I could have just stopped right here. That's hard to see. I have no way of covering that up. But anyway, I could have just stopped right there and then just pretended that didn't happen, and then it would have looked funny. It would have looked like it was unfinished. But just because it runs off the edge of the page, it's okay as long as I finish the pattern, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if I said it very well, but that's what I was trying to say. And I think I want this one to come way up and overlap that one. In my world, that one is really just overlapped. And then once again, I think that one's coming off the edge of the page just a little bit. Just a little bit, not a lot. It can get bigger before it gets smaller, you know. Just put them closer together down here. Like that. I just love me a flowing pattern, and look what I just did. I did it again. Darn it. I have to be much more careful. Look what I just did. I smudged it. You see all that smear? Look at that. So now, what I'm going to have to do is make some sort of embellishment there to hide it, because I've done it again. I am definitely going to have to practice more with my drawing on black technique so that I stop doing that. Pick up my fingers. See, I'll have to hold my little pinky out like I'm holding a proper teacup, like when you used to have a tea party and you were taught you had to put your little pinky out. My great grandma, she would play tea party with us when we were kids. Say that proper lady puts her pinky out when she's drinking her tea. Not sure I ever became a proper lady in anything, but okay, my pen is skipping a little bit. I'm going to go over here to a scrap page and kind of unclog it so it stops skipping. Okay, now I have to decide something. So, no matter what I do, both of these are going to overlap each other considerably. I have to decide what's kind of on top. I think I want this one on top. So I have to turn my page and start my, make sure I'm holding my hand up so I don't put my hand in my ink. That comes around and it comes under there and it goes to there. This one comes up and around and it disappears into there and around into there and around, and that doesn't quite come back yet. And that might come up underneath that one. Start to curve there. That one comes under there. That one goes like that. I did this the hard way. To be, you know, for those of you who are beginners, this is not that hard of a pattern, but I did this the hard way. I created a difficult scenario for me with the overlap. So, just to be clear, the pattern itself is not a hard pattern. And I think I will do this one twice. One this way, and I'm not overly fond of that particular what I just did, but it will do. But I made this way too complicated for myself in my overlap. I made it much harder than it needed to be. So I will do this in a small single tile on black separately to show that it is not that hard of a pattern and that you guys can do it. You can do it. I just made it overly complicated because, you know, if you can do it easy or you can do it complicated, I will pick the complicated way. I've always been like that. Ask my BFF. She will corroborate that when we were in art class together in high school, if there was a project to be done, you know, I couldn't just tackle a small project. We were doing, I remember this so clearly. We did batik as a art form, and could I just do a small, you know, most of my classmates were doing a small piece, you know, sort of a piece about the size of a piece of notebook paper, 8 by 10, 8.5 by 11, something like that. What do I decide to do? I decided to do 2 panels about 16 by 20. And then I enjoyed it so much that I made myself a circle skirt. This ginormous circle skirt in batik. I had wax, I had dye. Yeah. Could I have made a more complicated project? It was like 5 yards of material. It was humongous. But that's what I do. If in the art world it's worth doing more complicated. That just seems to be my MO. We were doing, this was an interesting class. We were investigating various textiles. And so we were investigating weaving. You know, everybody else chooses these little hoops to do their weaving on that are, you know, sort of the size of a little embroidery hoop. You know, little metal rings about 6-8 inches across. No, I have to pick the biggest one in the store. I think it drove my mother crazy that I always had to have these ginormous art supplies instead of just doing small little projects that could fit, you know, in my bedroom. No, I have to do the giant project that takes up the entire dining room table. I'm not sure if I completely drove my mom nuts or if she just really enjoyed watching me do my process because, you know, everything had to be bigger and better and more complicated and frustrating. So I am my own worst enemy in this sort of thing. I create my own complications. It's what I do. And I do it really well. All right, look at that. That is spectacular. It really is. I need to do something with these spots that I've over smudged. I over smudged a lot of spots. So what I will do is I'm going to go in here and embellish like they show in the, with just a little line and a dot, which will really emphasize that. Emphasize that right there. And you know what I could have done, and maybe I will do that in a minute. I could have changed over to the white pen. Perhaps I will do that. No. Changed my mind. Don't complicate things, Dawn. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple. But I am going to continue this and just really embellish. I think the embellishments look really great on the black. And if I'm going to do any kind of highlighting, I think I'll just do it with a white pencil. Oop, my pen's starting to cloggy up. Come over here, do it on some scrap paper. That does seem to be the issue with the gel pens, is they do tend to kind of cloggy up. And I'm not sure that there is anything that we can do about that other than just to use a separate page and clear the clog. But definitely adding this little bit of embellishment, I think it adds to the work completely. And in these places like over here where I've got this smudge, it distracts your eye so you don't really see the smudge. Incorporate the smudge into your embellishment. And once again, these videos that I do on the black are probably going to be longer than my normal ones, just because the size of the black paper is just much larger, so it will take more drawing time. And since I don't fast forward anything, you guys, what you see is what you get. I don't fast forward, so some of them end up being a little long. Like I said, go ahead and fast forward if you need to. This is just the embellishment part. But since I'm doing the same movement, line dot, line dot, line dot, it's very calming, quite soothing. Quite soothing. Just be careful not to smudge. Because I'm trying to fix those smudges, not make more smudges. Okay. I'm almost done. I might bring out the white pencil and do some highlighting, I think, on the little S-shaped swirly bits. See what it's telling me to do once I'm done here. I'll have to look at it, turn it around a couple of times, see if it speaks to me. Make sure you listen to your work. It will speak to you, especially the longer that you work and the more practice you have at it, the more you will start to trust your instincts. You have them. They're in there. They're deep down inside, maybe, but you have artistic instincts. You know instinctively what you like and what you don't like. You're drawn to Zentangle for a reason. You're here on my channel for a reason, because you're drawn to Zentangle. And so you know what you like. You already are drawn to this type of art form. And so since this is already something that your soul resonates with, you will automatically start to just listen to your work. It'll just happen. Okay, what do I want to do? First off, I feel like this is one of those works that wants to have a frame where it's popping itself out of the frame. So with my white pencil, I am going to create that frame right there. Right there. Can you see the difference in color between the silver and the white? The white just glows more than the silver does, I think. Okay, so this is coming up here and it's going right there. Oh, the UPS truck actually drove past the house. That's something new. We didn't have a delivery today. Yay! We didn't spend any money today or yesterday. Good job, folks. Let that UPS truck just drive on by. See how that creates this frame where it's I feel like it needs to be bigger though. It's a little bit wimpy. But it does create a frame from which your artwork is like popping partly in and partly out. I like that when it does that. It's one of the things that I really enjoy seeing. I think out of the box a little bit. So I like it when they come out of the box. Like I say, your tiles, your work will start to speak to you because it's something that's already resonating in your soul, which is why you're drawn to Zentangle in the first place. And And your soul will start to talk to you and say, this is what I want this piece to look like. Okay, I think it goes this way. That's the way it's kind of wanting to live in my world. It's wanting to live like that. I think I want some sort of highlight, but I don't want it with the pencil because I'm going to be able to tell the pencil from the pen. I think I'm going to smudge this a little bit. Just a little to give it not quite such a harsh line at that edge. It's okay if it's harsh on the one side, on the outside, but I want it softer on the inside. You might not be able to tell this on the screen, that it's a little bit softer on the inside. It may not translate. There are some things that are just so subtle that they don't translate well on the camera. But maybe just need just a little bit of, oh yeah, it translates, it kind of makes it glow, doesn't it? Yeah, you can see that. All right. See the shine on the silver? I like that. I feel like these need something, but I don't want to do it in the silver. I think I'll do it in the white. I'm going to just like that. Just a little bit of highlight right where it bends. Like if it was a piece of ribbon and it would have a high spot where it would be like curling. That's where I want this. A little bit of white. And you can definitely tell the difference between the white and the silver. So I want right on the top, the highlight. That's the other thing I've had to learn, trying to figure out how to do is on the black tiles, is that you want to create the highlights rather than shading the shadows. So you're kind of thinking backwards. It's like photography, you're thinking in the negative. And so it is a different process. Your brain really has to think differently from what you've been doing in the past. That's totally different. I think something like this. Just a little bit, nothing really major. Just a little hatching to give the ribbon a dimension. Just a little something. What do you think? Yeah, I think that's what it needed. All right, so now I need to sign it. And I'm not going to put the name of this one on it. I don't think. No, I'm not going to put the name on it on the black ones because they're the bigger tiles. I'm just going to leave them like that. Let them be sort of standalone. But this pattern was called Danza. D-A-N-Z-A. And I'm going to go ahead and do a smaller one on black and white on the white tile, just so that it's not so complicated for more beginners. This is definitely, doing it this way is definitely an advanced tangle tile.